this video I'm bringing you 3-headed dragon theory as well as who the third dragon rider might be. But before I get right into it, let's first take a look on some facts regarding the dragon riding. Why is dragon riding such a big deal? Way back in the day, the Targaryens learned how to master and ride dragons as beasts of war, allegedly by using a combination of practice and sorcery. Dragon riding, just like forging Valyrian steel, is considered the lost art and extremely effective method of warfare. Targaryen riders are the ones who first united the Seven Kingdoms. Can anyone ride a dragon? First off, dragons can never be fully tamed and could even be dangerous for their own rider. In the books, a character named Quentyn Martell tried to follow Dany's lead and take the control of one of her other dragons, Viserion, but got torched by the third dragon, Rhaegal. This Martell was written out of the show, but fans were very worried that Tyrion might meet the same fate when he approached these two. Luckily enough, Tyrion survived. Dany's invasion of Westeros, particularly the Battle of the Gold Road, left fans wondering if it would make more sense for her to bring all three dragons to battle instead of only one. The answer lies in the fact that Dany is only able to entirely control Drogon, and therefore does not want to put her own army at risk using all three dragons. She did handle her other two dragons pretty capably in the Battle of Meereen and in the Battle Beyond the Wall. However, in both of these situations, her armies did not participate. It was only her dragons against the enemy armies, thus Daenerys was able to bring all three and just burn everything on sight. However, when Dany is marching her armies as well, she doesn't want to risk bringing other two as they don't have their riders and cannot be fully controlled. With this being said, let's now take a look on Dany's outfits, which is also of a huge importance for the 3-headed dragon theory, as I believe that her season 7 outfits are foreshadowing that this is coming true. Dany's outfits throughout the series used to mostly be of blue color. This is because Khal Drogo's Khalasar used the color blue to identify themselves from other Khalasars. Dany wore blue a lot to remember him. This fact is important for you to understand that Game of Thrones outfits usually symbolize or even foreshadow something. Throughout the last season, Dany wore outfits that contain dragon motifs and matches with colors of her house, which is pretty common among the lords and ladies. Every lord, king or queen wears an outfit that contains a symbol of his or her house sigil, meaning that there's nothing surprising that Dany wears colors and motifs on her dresses that matches with her own house. As we can see, Dany often wears the 3-headed dragon pin, which at first does not hint, not to mention confirm any theory. But on the other hand, this same pin that seems just every other regular pin might hint that the popular 3-headed dragon theory might come true in the final season. Before I continue, let me just highlight this: unlike most other TV shows, Game of Thrones is a show that has many times foreshadowed main events far in advance. That's mostly because showrunners David Benioff and Dan Weiss have a show based on a book series, and the show is not written on a season-by-season basis. Let me just put it this way: by the time they started writing the first episode of the very first season, they'd already known about all main events and deaths that would happen in the upcoming season, so they had decided to foreshadow most of them, which is one of plenty reasons this show is one of, if not the best TV show ever produced. Let me give you a few examples. Ned Stark's death was foreshadowed in the very first episode of the series. As we all know, Ned Stark, accompanied with Jon, Robb, Theon, Bran and a few other men, came upon a dead direwolf. A few months later, we found out that this direwolf was killed by a stag, which actually foreshadowed Robert Baratheon, a stag, getting Ned the wolf killed by inviting him to King's Landing, while 6 pups that were left behind upon the direwolf's death represent Ned's 6 children. Then we also have Littlefinger foreshadowing Tywin Lannister's death. In the 8th episode of the 4th season, Littlefinger had a conversation with Robin, who was afraid of leaving home following his mother's death. Robin thinks it's safer for him to stay inside, but Littlefinger comforted him by saying that people can die anywhere. Littlefinger said, "People die at their dinner tables, people die in their beds, they die squatting over their chamber pots." And a few episodes later, Shae was killed on her bed and Tywin Lannister was killed while squatting over his chamber pots. These are just a couple of examples of Game of Thrones foreshadowings, just to point out that every small talk, every small item that we at the moment sometimes don't even catch might be foreshadowing something huge. With this being said, Dany's pin might still be nothing more than a regular pin, but taking into consideration all previous hints that foreshadow major events, deaths and much more, this on first sight regular pin might have much bigger importance, might be a clue that the 3-headed dragon theory will come true. So as I've been saying, this 3-headed dragon pin, beside being a regular pin that represents Targaryen sigil, might also foreshadow that beside Dany and the Night King riding dragons, there might be one more dragon rider that will ride the one remaining dragon, Rhaegal. Let me introduce you to a theory that this 3-headed dragon pin might be foreshadowing. So basically, according to this theory, Rhaegar Targaryen's statement in Dany's vision, the dragon has 3 heads, means that each of Dany's 3 dragons will have their own riders. For all of you that are not caught up with the books and are probably wondering when did Rhaegar say this, I'll try to explain it to you. Dany saw visions in the House of the Undying in both in the books and on the show, but her visions are quite different. In the books, Dany saw no vision of Drogo and their son, but she did see many other visions, so which one was a vision of her brother Rhaegar saying, "The dragon has 3 heads." The first dragon rider is obvious. Dany has an unbreakable bond and connection with Drogon, who is named after her late husband called Drogo and is the largest one. After the heartbreaking battle beyond the wall, the Night King rides Viserion and Dany only has 2 dragons left. Since she rides Drogon, it would only fit for Jon, the one last living Targaryen, to ride Rhaegal into the battle at some point, probably after he learns of his true parentage. A year ago I already made a video regarding this, the 3-headed dragon theory, that already proved to be quite accurate. In that video I also explained how the 3-headed dragon theory has been foreshadowed, as well as which characters might make up the 3-headed dragon prophecy. Long story short, who those 3 Dragonriders might be. Dany obviously has an unbreakable bond with Drogon, and Jon Snow, being the last Targaryen beside Dany, would ride a dragon named after his father Rhaegar, but not before the last season. Regarding the 3rd dragon rider that is required to fulfill the 3-headed dragon theory, I said that it would be nice to see Dany, Jon and Tyrion riding the dragons into battle against the Night King, but I also said that it was kinda too obvious and simple to be true. This would have also fulfilled Tyrion's story of how he wanted a dragon for his name day, only to be disappointed by loud laughter from his family. Some claim Tyrion Lannister would ride Viserion since he already managed to earn their trust and unshackle them. Tyrion claiming that dragons are intelligent much more than most people and will quickly recognize friend from foe, in my opinion is the best explanation and the only reason dragons did not kill Tyrion. Dragons realized that he's a friend and not an enemy, meaning that even though Tyrion did manage to earn their trust, he most likely will not be the one to ride the 3rd dragon. Instead, I stated that the Night King will be the 3rd dragon rider, and therefore we would have Dany, Fire, the Night King Ice, and Jon Snow, Ice and Fire riding 3 dragons. The first part of my theory already came true in the season 7 finale, leaving the last part of it yet to come true, Jon Snow riding Rhaegal. After the season 6 finale and huge revelation of Jon Snow's true parentage, Jon is not a bastard but rather a son of Lyanna Stark and Rhaegar Targaryen, also known as the Last Dragon. It's pretty easy to assume that Jon is the 2nd rider. Jon Snow will most likely ride Rhaegal, the dragon named after his father. Beside Dany, the Night King and Jon Snow, there's one more person that will most likely ride the dragon. Well, not technically ride, but skin change into dragon. And I'd have to guess Bran will skin change into Viserion, the Night King's dragon. So long, fans have been wondering why would Bran need to skin change into one of Dany's dragons, and season 7 gave us the answer. It's because all 3 dragons are not fighting for the same side anymore, and therefore controlling the Night King's undead dragon will be of the crucial importance in the Great War to come. Skin changing into dragon is most likely possible for the strongest warg skin changer to ever live. Bran had warged into hoarders so many times, and yet skin changing into a human is way harder than warging into an animal, and yet Bran already mastered that skill long ago before meeting the 3-eyed raven. Just as 3-eyed raven said, Bran will never walk again, but he will fly. In conclusion, the final season will certainly see all 3 dragons having their own riders, and one might even be controlled by Bran. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to subscribe to our channel, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.